My name is Richard Medhurst, and I'm joined today by a very special guest, Phil Tourney. Phil is a US Navy petty officer who survived the attack on the USS Liberty. Now, the USS Liberty was an American ship that was struck by Israel in the 1967 Six-Day War. 34 crew members were killed. To this day, the United States officially says that the attack was not deliberate, despite Phil and other survivors stating the exact opposite. In this interview, we're going to find out what's happened, and I'm very grateful for you getting back to me so quickly, Phil, because I've been educating my viewers on the USS Liberty attack, on the King David Hotel bombing for many years, and I've wanted to do this for a long time, so thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. It's my honor to be here.
I just want to start out by asking you, Phil, can you just tell us briefly what your mission was at the time aboard the USS Liberty? What were you doing in the Mediterranean? What is the technical research ship that you were on? I want to just have you kind of outline your career and how you came to be serving aboard the USS Liberty.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. I joined the Navy in February of 1964. Went to boot camp in San Diego. I was born and raised in Colorado. And I did 2 tours Vietnam aboard the USS Mauna Kea AE-22. I got transferred from the West Coast to the East Coast to be aboard the USS Liberty, and that's how I ended up there. I got aboard the ship, found out what it was finally after a few days, week or two. The most sophisticated spy ship in the world at that time. It was the 5th ship in that class, the spy ships. There were 4 more just like it. But ours was named Liberty. What a beautiful, beautiful name Liberty is. And so we got aboard there, and it says, we're all spies. I'm not, I was in engineering, but there was 200 spies aboard there, and it was incredible, the crew and everything. And I can go into the attack, I can go into why it happened or whatever. Just let me know what you want to do, Richard.
Traditionally, the background that I have about the ship is that you have one or a handful of NSA people aboard, and the rest are all military. But you're saying that most of the crew were actually working in intelligence. Did I get that correctly?
Yes, you did. There was 200 spies, NSA, CIA spies, and the rest of were ship's company, engineering, bosun mates, cooks, things of that nature. They kept the ship going. Without us, they didn't get hot water. They didn't get warm food. They didn't get anything without ship's company. And our only job, Richard, was to take the CTs anywhere they had to go in the world. That was our mission.
If it's all right, I just want to ask you to kind of walk us through the attack, if it's okay with you, because I look at the logs, and for 2 hours they're attacking you, roughly for 2 hours, and I just don't understand how you can mistake a US ship for anything else for 2 hours. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
No, they didn't care. They knew exactly what they were doing. In fact, Admiral Thomas Medhurst, a friend of mine, he's deceased now, the longest serving admiral in the United States Navy, and he was former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and twice he was commander of the European fleet and the Pacific fleet. No other admiral has ever done that. And Arleigh H. Burke, another friend of mine, he called him Mr. Navy, said this attack was in no way a mistaken identity. And so did Arleigh Burke. And the Moore report proves that. I got a little off topic here, but I needed to bring these great gentlemen into the story. Ward Boston, the JAG officer, recounted everything. Said it was we were set up, and our country's been set up as far as I can see, as long as 1967. I know it goes beyond that, but 1967, the Six-Day War, is proof of what Israel can do to America and get by with it. they can get by with cold-blooded, premeditated murder. They almost killed us all, but by the grace of God, we're still here.
Yes, I believe several of the torpedoes missed. The fact they fired them at all, it really says it all. And your crewmates who died in this tragedy, could you perhaps tell us about them, what their roles were, and how they fell in combat, or how they were rather massacred?
That was the bravest crew. I mean, the bravest people I've ever seen in my life. You know, our ship was divided in several different parts. All the spies stayed away from us, and we stayed away from them because everything was so secret, and they didn't deal with us. We didn't deal with them. And during the attack, post-attack, these guys acted heroically, trying to save all the lives they could. The whole mess decks, everywhere you could lay a body on a table or on the deck, you could see a sea of broken bodies and bloodied men. That's how bad it was. It was something that I don't wish on anybody, especially when your government knows you're under attack and refuses to help you and then lies about it, say it was a mistaken identity. That's disgusting, not only to America, it's disgusting to the world to know what governments can do.
Yeah. I get the impression, and this is just speculation, but I get the impression you must have overheard something the Israelis didn't want you to hear, and that's perhaps the real reason why they attacked you, because they say it's an accident, and I know the U.S. government officially toes that line, but why do you think they attacked you?
It goes a lot deeper than that. It goes that we were set up by our own government, be sunk by the Zionist state and blame it on Egypt and bring us into World War III. That's what it was all about. But by the grace of God, we didn't sink. And we're here now telling the truth as we have been for years and years and years, and we're treated like garbage from our own government, then and now. So this has been a heavy lift, but we're not giving up.
I read the logs of the attack several times, and what strikes me as being particularly vindictive is the fact that the Israelis knew you were there. They flew over the ship several times doing reconnaissance. Just to start with, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes, it is, Richard.
So they did flybys. They knew you were there, and they saw the markings on the ship. And then when they attacked you, if I recall correctly, they had 30mm cannons. They were using these French jets. They strafed at you with napalm as well, with rockets. Then they tried to torpedo you, and if I'm not mistaken, they even attacked the lifeboats, which is a war crime, even if you were an Egyptian ship, supposedly.
That's exactly right. In fact, when we saw the torpedo boats coming, we saw the Star of David, we think, wow, here's our best buddies in the whole wide world. They're coming to help us, because we thought the Arabs were doing it. We had no idea. Unmarked jet aircraft, and we finally see the torpedo boats, and thank God they were there. No, they were there to murder the rest of us. They machine gunned our life rafts. Now this attack went on for 2 hours. We were denied help from our government. They recalled rescue aircraft to come help us when they knew we were under attack by the Zionist state. They left us out there to die. We didn't see any help for 17 hours.
I recall that you saw a Soviet ship on your way back which offered to help even. So when you were telling me that the Soviets even offered to help, but the Israelis and your own government didn't, I mean, it's just shocking, isn't it?
Everything about this is shocking. I mean, how low can your government go? How corrupt do you have to be? How corrupt are you to allow this to happen, to have a foreign country sink 294 people to the bottom of the ocean and call it a mistaken identity when it was cold-blooded murder set up by our own government to sink and blame it on the Arab states? That's exactly what happened. And that's why I'm here right now telling the truth. And I've been doing it for years. So is my shipmates. will continue to do it till we're dead.
And we appreciate it very much. And I've seen some of the vitriol and the discourse that's been lobbed at you by Zionist interests. It's quite vindictive. It almost feels as if there's no remorse whatsoever about it, because even if it really were, even if we supposedly accept that it was friendly fire, there's no need to be so vindictive about it, is there?
No, the savageness of and the viciousness of it was completely unreal. I mean, come on, you're shooting at helpless men on deck. You're shooting at firefighters and stretcher bearers trying to put out fires and get everybody off deck, and you machine gun them at close range. Yeah, that's a hard one to take when your own government tells you if you don't shut up, you'll be fined, imprisoned, or worse. You know what worse means? That's what an admiral told me.
An admiral personally threatened you like that?
Admiral Isaac Kidd. And his JAG officer was there too, Ward Boston. And he recanted his story that he was ordered by Johnson and McNamara to make it seem like a mistaken identity when the evidence was contrary, but they followed out those orders and said it was mistaken identity when it was a pre-planned murderous attack on a very small armed ship, a spy ship in international waters.
Exactly. I wanted to make that point much earlier on, that you were in international waters the entire time.
Yes. All of what you said is correct. You know, they knew exactly who we were and what we were there for, and we didn't know what we were there for. We set up our own government. That's what really breaks the heart of it should break the heart of all Americans. When Israel attacked us, they attacked all of America. It attacked the whole world. In fact, it was a Geneva Convention. I think it was Article 5. If you attack one, you attack all.
Yeah, I find it very troubling that most Americans don't know about this. They just don't know about it. Just like in Britain, most people don't know about that the worst terrorist attack against British subjects was carried out by Israelis in Jerusalem. So are you hopeful that more and more people are finding out about this? Or do you feel that they're still being misled by the media, by Hollywood, by the news, by the education system? Because if they wanted more people to be educated about it, I'm sure they would have made the effort to do so. But I feel that it's neglected on purpose, to put it mildly.
Well, who owns all the newspapers? Who owns all of our congressmen? I guess that's pretty simple to figure out. We're just here trying to get the truth out so America knows and the world knows what they did to us. And it can happen. Listen, our country's in a lot of trouble right now in the Middle East and Europe and everything like this. And wow, all the immigrants, everything else. But USS Liberty is the key to breaking the back of the hold of the Zionist state on the United States of America, and every congressman and every senator, every cabinet member that works in our government better be beholden to one government, the United States of America, and not be led around by the nose by the Zionist state for profit or getting us into wars.
When it comes to things that are happening right now in Gaza, for example, do you see the same brutality in what's happening right now in Gaza that you experienced? Do you see that same impunity? Do you feel that the failure to hold the Israelis accountable over the USS Liberty attack is what emboldens them to behave the way they do behave now in the Middle East?
Well, I felt the back end of Israel for a solid 2-hour bloodbath. So I know what they're capable of. And what's going on in Gaza is, in my view, simply unforgivable. How much do you have to take out of these people? How many do you have to kill? I mean, my God, it's got to stop. They're starving them to death. No, I'm not happy about it. Now, this is my personal opinion, but I mean, anybody with They can turn on the TV and look at those pictures, but the devastation, the starvation, and the death of young, beautiful babies and young kids is more than this old man wants to take.
Israel wants to give the impression of being an ally, but it really doesn't have any allies. It kind of just overpowers its so-called friends. Does it disgust you that America keeps giving Israel billions of dollars in military aid after what they did to you?
Boy, yeah. They got more money than they ever got from the United States government for murdering my shipmates and trying to murder the rest of us. And then telling us to shut up or we're going to go to prison or get killed. So the people, I may got off topic here, but I got to say this. The people of the world have to come together to get this solved. And I really believe, Richard, that the key to this puzzle is breaking open the USS Liberty real story. Will tell you all you need to know about two governments. And it's going on right now today, and it's got to stop. Got to stop.
Can you tell me more about the obstacles and the impediments that they put in your way and your crewmates in your attempt to obtain justice? What did the Israelis do? What did your own government do to try and block you, just simply from obtaining justice and getting the truth out? What have they done over the years?
Nothing. You write letters and they lie to you. They say, well, we were there, on board the ship, and you tell us it was a mistaken identity. Well, I'm telling you it's not. Now, I didn't say anything for 18, 20 years, and most of them didn't. But since then, we've been yelling from the rooftops. And, Candace Owens, her interview with me has busted this bubble all the way open. And being with you, Richard, I don't know if you saw that interview, but it was good for America. It's good for the world, just like this one is right here. And man, we got to fix this somehow. I'm just a nothing out here, But I love my country. I stand up for the Constitution above anything. And in your country, what do you stand up for? Free speech, the same things we have. And ours were taken away.
I don't want to get off topic too much either, but they arrested me for terrorism because of my reporting on what's happening right now in Palestine. The Zionists have killed free speech in Britain as well. They've done a good job of doing that. They've recanted some of their stories, you told me, some people. That, I'm assuming, helped sabotage your efforts to get the truth out, right?
Well, the recanting actually helped us from Ward Boston, because he was the JAG officer, and he recanted the whole thing about the USS Liberty, saying it was a mistaken identity when him and Admiral Kidd knew it was a false flag. They did it on purpose to sink us, and he was ordered by McNamara and Johnson, both of them. Shut your mouths. Make sure it's a case of my mistaken identity. In 7 days, they concluded it was a mistaken identity, and one of the most decorated ships in naval history for a single engagement. That attack lasted as long as Pearl Harbor lasted, and they're going to investigate in 7 days and say it was a mistaken identity. An idiot could figure out that was a lie.
Yeah, it was open and shut in 7 days, you're telling me.
Yes, 7 days. And it was all done.
I mean, telling my viewers about this for several years now. Most of them are American and British, so it's very important for them to know. And I know the story quite well, and I keep learning things that shock me, which I think really says a lot about how devastating this is, all is.
Well, it is. It's earth-shattering, to say the least. There was a nuclear sub under us, a submarine from the Soviet Union. And there was also two submarines, the USS Amberjack and, I forgot the other one, Andrew Jackson. I think they filmed it, and they were ready for nuclear war, because on tape, it's said by this captain of the sub, if our ship would have went down and the war would have started, they were gonna hit the Temple Mount with a nuke. True. There was SAC aircraft on way before we got attacked to bomb Cairo. This is way before we got attacked. But what they didn't count on was us surviving by the grace of God. He held that ship up. That's why we're here right now. So it may have taken years to get this out, but with the alternative media, not the mainstream BS you get, but the alternative media to come out and say, "Hey, man, this is the truth, guys. If you think we're lying, prove it to us. We'll go in front of Congress, which they don't want to do. They're scared of us. They're just waiting for us all to die out. That's what the deal is. They're just waiting for us to die out, Richard."
Just in case the viewers don't recall, because you mentioned Robert McNamara a couple of times, he's quite famous for his exploits in Vietnam. What he did there was shocking enough. I'm not surprised, to put it mildly, that he's also involved in covering up this incident as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. Do you have any thoughts on him?
Oh, yeah. I got a lot of thoughts about him. You know, he was so brash, Richard. He came out and said, "I know nothing about the USS Liberty. Nothing. And he was the Secretary of Defense, and he never heard of the USS Liberty. So, yeah, the cover-up was deep, and LBJ with his ties and everything, it all ties back. I could go on and on about it, and I think everybody would understand it pretty well, but we got to take back not only America, but the world. I mean, we need a better place, a safe place. No more wars for Israel. No more wars for anybody. Take care of the world. Take care of each other. And I'm not an environmentalist. I love my gas truck. I love my gas stove. I live up in the mountains, so I need it. But, you know, I just, we got to come together as a people, because if we don't, I mean, if you don't look evil in the eye and stare it down, you just, I mean, you don't have a lot of salt.
When it comes to the reaction by your own government, did any high-ranking officials afterwards in successive administrations try to help you or reach out in any way?
Yeah, there was Congressman Paul Finley, Congressman Pete McCluskey, and Congressman Jim Traficant, and there might have been one or more, but that was it. The rest of them said, "Well, I've got tons of letters that explain the whole thing. It's already been investigated over and over. You know, it's a case of mistaken identity." When the survivors say, "No, it isn't," and us not sinking by the grace of God saved World War III, and that's a fact.
You say that they wanted to blame the whole thing on the Egyptians, on the Arabs, because it happened during the Six-Day War. But I can't help but imagine this causing a nuclear war, a world war. I can't help but agree with you, because people need to remember this is at the height of the Cold War. I mean, it would have been very easy for the US and Russia to start exchanging blame, for example. It makes everything not just brutal, but also especially dangerous on an international level.
Oh, absolutely, it does. I mean, LBJ was a crooked politician from day one, and there's nothing changed. There's a lot of things they said he did. I don't want to go into it on this show, but I know what he did with the USS Liberty. He gave a free hand to the Zionist state to destroy his own people that served him in the United States military. and blame it on somebody else. We know that for a fact. So with the rest of the politicians, from now on, I mean, no, there's none of them that want to help us, except maybe Tom Massey. He came out and said that everybody's got an APAC handler, you know. So if he said all the Republicans do except him, you can almost assume all the Democrats do too. I mean, they get led around by the nose. And I believe the last count I heard was $23 billion they've given to Israel. I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's what I heard already. And so this physical year. So that's a lot of money to do things that are not in the best interest of America. I don't feel good about it, supplying people to hurt other people, kill them. That's not off topic either. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah. I want to ask, did you have certain opinions about Israel that instantly changed after the attack, or?
Well, and this is, it's really not that hard to answer. When you support your best friends in the world, as we did aboard that ship, we had Stars of David all over that ship, hoping the Israelis would win and win decisively. And then come to find out what they did to us, and it was them. Let me put it this way. It's like putting a gun to your head for 2 hours, and they pull the trigger 34 times. And all around you, you're seeing your other shipmates getting wounded or hurt. And it keeps going on and on and on, constantly for 2 hours. And then you live through it by the grace of God. And yeah, it's not right. And the people that are responsible in our government and in Israel or anywhere else, they will allow their own servicemen to be set up and slaughtered and to live and talk about it. The most decorated crew in naval history for a single engagement from the Medal of Honor on down, and they ignore us like we're nothing but garbage. We served our country honorably and gave our blood and lives for it. Serve your country, not the Zionist state.
Well said. Well said, Phil. And I recall that in about, I think, 2006, Netanyahu attended an event at the King David Hotel where they unveiled a plaque, essentially celebrating their attack 60 years earlier when they killed dozens of British officers, civil servants. As I said before, it's the biggest terrorist attack in history against British subjects. And the Israelis celebrated that. Have you seen that similar kind of attitude from Israelis where they're kind of celebrating or showing off after the USS Liberty attack?
Richard, I can't prove this definitively, but I heard from a good source that all the people that murdered my shipmates and tried to murder the rest of them got medals for murdering American citizens on the high seas. So that's a little offensive. Yes, it is. And for them to have our life raft too, I want the life raft back. It doesn't belong as a trophy of the kill. I want it back. They scrapped that ship in 1968 to get rid of the evidence. So it would just go away. Well, the USS Liberty veterans are not going away. We're fighting back with a vengeance. We love America. We love the world. I mean, come on, man. We're all in this together. Let's fix it.
I didn't know that they kept one of the boats as a trophy. You would think that they would give that back. Normally, you give back not just military equipment, but people's remains and out of respect. So I'm once again shocked.
Yeah, it's a wow factor. It really is, Richard. But we just keep on keeping on, my friend, and hoping for the best, and hope God blesses us like He did then, continually to get this story out. We don't do this just because the USS Liberty. It's about two corrupt countries who got together and could have destroyed millions of lives if we go to the bottom. That was the plan. And I do want to add to the people that listen to this, we're a small group of survivors, probably 50 of us left alive, that we are speaking about it, if that many. If you would go to usslibertyveterans.org, usslibertyveterans.org, and help us financially, spiritually, any way you can. We got a ship store there. You can buy stuff, memorabilia, and help us continue the fight, because we have to have funds so we can go places. We're going to Congress is where we're going again, but together. And we'll see I'll keep you posted how that works out.
Thank you, Phil. That was one of my questions, actually, how people could support you. What's your message to Americans who are still supporting Israel, who drank the Kool-Aid, as you say? What's your message to them?
My message to everybody is look at your television, and every other or every third or every fifth commercial is Israel needs you, send money. Well, America needs you. If you're going to send money, send it to America. We need it. It's our tax dollars. I'm not saying people that shouldn't donate to any groups, but Israel gets so much and we get so little for it. And that's my message.
Phil, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It's an honor and a privilege for me to have you, because I've been wanting to do this interview for a long time, and further educate people. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and your crewmates and your family. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard. And well, if there's a knock on the door in a few minutes, you're going back to jail.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope
not. All right, man. All right, take care of yourself, Richard.
Thank you, Phil. Take care. Cheers.
Bye.